Hey everybody, including Mr. Clendenin students. This week you'll know that me and Mr. Clendenin are sharing kind of notes, sharing homework, and sharing videos. So some days you'll see me, some days you'll see him, but we are working together to come up with all this stuff. So yesterday, Mr. Clendenin introduced law of sines. Now, law of sines, you guys, whether it's A over sine of A, B over sine of B, or C over sine of C, says that all of those ratios are equal, okay? So you guys, whatever side and angle, it has to be a combo though, like little a and big A, little b or big B. So again, I just say combo, not sure of the exact terminology that Mr. Clendenin is using. All right, so my problems are gonna be a little bit different though, because we're gonna be finding angles today as opposed to finding sides that you did with Mr. Clendenin. So what we're gonna do in this problem is we're gonna find capital B. Now, when we say capital letters, those represent angles. Lowercase are sides, across from angles, which are capital letters. So I look at this problem and I try to usually draw a triangle. It doesn't have to be drawn to scale. I usually draw an equilateral triangle, which means all sides and all angles are equal. That's not true, but it's just kind of easy for me to draw. So I label A, B, C. It doesn't matter where you label them as long as you label A, B, and C. I plug my angle in the correct spot, and now I do make sure I put my sides in the correct place. Side A has to be across from side A, or angle A, sorry, and side B has to be across from angle B. So I want to draw a somewhat representative triangle and put the pieces in the correct spot. Now what I do is I look for combos. And what I mean by combos, again, is sides and angles that are across from each other, which would have the same letter. So here I fully have the A combo. I got part of the B combo, but I don't have the other piece. And that's actually what I want to find today. I want to find angle B. So I set up my law of sines, or my ratios, and it would be, I'm going to do my A combo first. Side A divided by sine of angle A. So I used my A combo. Now I'm going to set that equal to a fraction, or a ratio, of my B combo. Well, I know side B, but I don't know angle B. Now, the only thing different today is you always had the variable up there yesterday. Now we got the variable as our angle. We're still going to cross multiply. So I take the bottom right times the top left. And I take the bottom left times the top right. And now my job is to get B by itself. Well, the first thing I would do is I would divide by 12 on both sides. And here's where it gets a little bit tricky for kids. They need to be able to get B by itself, but remember, how do you get rid of a trig function and leave the variable there? Is inverse sine. So the answer to B is inverse sine of that right side. So here is another issue that kids have. They're not exactly sure how to type that in your calculator, so try to follow these steps with me. I work my way inside out. So I actually turn this fraction into a decimal first using my calculator. So I press 4 times sine of 50 degrees, and I press enter. That's a decimal. Divide by 12. That's still a decimal. But when you have that decimal in your calculator, you have two options. You could either write it down on your piece of paper and do the inverse sine of the decimal you just wrote on your paper, or learn how to use your answer key. Now, it's usually A and S, I believe, on this calculator, which I'll go get, is right underneath the negative sign. So I'll show you there. Notice above the negative sign is A and S. So here is how I could type it in this calculator. You guys can actually see me type it in. I go 4 times the sine of 50 degrees, enter, which is a decimal. I divide by 12, which is a decimal. But I want to do the inverse sine of that. So there's my inverse sine key. So I'll do second inverse sine, but I just lost that decimal. But your calculator will remember it as the previous answer. So I'm gonna hit second A and S, and I'm doing the inverse sine of the previous answer or decimal on my calculator. And when I press enter, I get 14.79 degrees. We round that to 15 degrees. Or sorry, we round that to 15 degrees. So angle B is approximately 15 degrees. So one of the biggest struggles for some people is actually plugging this in their calculator correctly. Now, if you got to write down a bunch of decimals in on your paper and then just retype them, that's fine, or you can learn how to use your answer key. All right, so you guys, again, the only difference today with law of sines is if you are solving for a missing angle, your last step will be inverse sine to get that angle. Okay, you guys, we have one more example today. And remember, you guys can pause at any time. So if this is challenging for you, you could just listen first, get all the work on the board, and then pause it, and then write it down. Or you could watch it again for a second time. That's a nice thing about videos. Here's number 2. We're going to have angle C is equal to 115 degrees. Little a is 9, little c is 17, and we're going to still find the angle B. Now, it has nothing to do with the previous problem, but it's just angle B in this one. Now, I could draw an equilateral triangle, but since that is an obtuse angle, if you wanted to make it look a little bit more accurate, when I put my A here, my B here, and my C here, well, if C is an obtuse angle, it's larger than 90 degrees, so maybe I'll put angle B out here and draw my triangle like so. Now, since this is not a right triangle, we can't use right triangle trig, we got to use law of sines. And luckily, we have a combo. Because when I label my 115 degrees, little a is across from big A, 9. Little c is across from big C, 17. I do have a combo given to me. I have my C combo. But I don't have enough information to find B right now. I can only find something as part of a combo. And since I know little a, that would go in combo with big A. So actually right now I can't solve or finish my problem for B. I have to find big A first. Then we'll talk about what we can do after that. So I'm going to set up my law of sines. I'm going to use my C combo. 17 over sine of 115 degrees is equal to my A combo. 9 over sine of A. Now, all of the steps for this problem will be identical to the previous problem to get the angle by itself. Cross multiply. Divide by 17. Take the inverse sine of both sides. Oops, forgot to write inverse sine. And now here's where you probably want to pause. See if you can type that in your calculator. You should be able to get the final answer for A rounded to the nearest whole number. Since it's an angle, we go nearest whole number for degree. So pause it and see if you get this for A. I got 36 degrees rounded. Now don't box that though, because look what it says. It says find angle B. So you're thinking, well, that's kind of hard. I can't go back to do law of sines because I don't know anything about the B combo. You don't have to know anything about the B combo. If this is 36 degrees, the sum of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees from geometry. So you can simply say angle B is the 180 degrees in a triangle. Take away the 115 degrees that we gave you. Take away the 36 degrees that you found, and angle B is, oh, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong number. Go back. Angle A is 29 degrees. So hopefully you were totally stressed out thinking, man, I can't use my calculator. Mr. Patterson was just actually mean on accident. I read the wrong answer. So A is 29 degrees. B, when I change that to 29 degrees, will be 36 degrees. Now, if you pause the video because you kept getting the wrong answer right here and you didn't know what was going on, my deepest apologies for that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that to happen. I'll try to say that in my stream for Google Classroom that I screwed up, just to keep watching the video, and then I'll fix the answer. All right, you guys, hopefully this kind of made sense. It's your second day for Law of Sines, but now you guys are finding the missing angle as opposed to a missing side like you did with Mr. C. All right, it's your boy, Mr. P. Here are your 2 homework problems. Please make sure that you have a blank sheet of paper that you guys did your new notes on, and you do your homework on, and you submit it to the Google Doc. Have a great day.